It is day number, 6 for us here live from Las Vegas as we hang out with you live from our partner for the rest of the week and staying here at the beautiful, and I mean absolutely beautiful Circa Resort and Casino. And that's what we are brought to you by here on this Saturday, a Saturday edition of the PHLY Sixers podcast, live from Las Vegas, Circa Restaurant and Casino, along with Derek Bodner and Kyle Neubeck. Check out our cool-ass shirts that we have on right now because, yes, Kyle pulled us to the Dead & Co. show the other night. We did it, a team bonding experience. And while as reluctant as I was, it was well worth it. We had a great time. I hope you were able to see some of the photos and the videos that we each sent out from our personal accounts on Twitter. And we had a blast. It was a cool show, the Sphere, everything. You had to check it out yourself. But we can get into I'll get into that after Kyle explains his style. You see him with the shades on. Derek has his shades on. I messed up the memo and left them up in the room, so I don't have my shades on. But I am attire, right? I am matching attire-wise somewhat.
You did remember the shirt. I give you credit for that.
Yes, I did remember the shirt. Credit. I will have a wardrobe change when we head over to the arena for the game.
Oh, I'm full sending.
Sixers play today.
It's tie-dye all Saturday.
No question. But Kyle, man, hey, look, you were right. I was wrong. It was a fun time.
Yeah, listen, we don't have to legislate who was right. The whole thing was just trying to do some kind of experience while we were here.
It was an experience.
Devon pushed for maybe some new addition, right? There were some conversations about that. Apparently, we missed a Kawhi, Paul George meet and greet at the Lil Wayne concert last night. So regretting that we didn't make it to that one as well. But
we thought about it.
But yeah, I mean, I've been to a fair few concerts. Had never been to a Dead show. That was unlike anything I'd ever seen. The visuals, just like the scope of the Derek in the middle of the show is like, how many screens are there? How many pixels are in this thing? And we're just going on and on and on.
64,000 LEDs for the record.
Just a disgusting
calculator.
And we were talking last night where I was like, on the one hand, this is probably killing the planet and it's drawing so much power. But, man, this is fucking cool. This is just like – so I'm glad we did it. I'm glad I was able to convince you guys despite the fact that I don't think jam bands are really our wheelhouse necessarily.
Yeah.
So especially with Devon. Devon, I was like – I felt like I could get Derek on board. Devon has his lanes that he's in.
Uh-huh.
I don't think this is one of them. Devon's also a picky eater, and we're trying to work around that on the trip.
No surprise by that.
But Devon is also a good sport. He rolls with things.
Team player, baby.
When he said, I'm going to wear my tie-dye, I was like, he's just, he's giving me a hard time.
The fact that Devon packed a tie-dye blew my mind, yes.
Yes, I did. So I did think about the tie-dye that you guys had on, but I figured once we got there, we look at the shirts like you guys have on right now. Kyle did offer. This is how great of a team player he is. He offered to buy me a tie-dye shirt, and I was like, you know what, I'm cool. I have this one. This is good enough. But as the show went on and I'm seeing all these different types of shirts around the building, and I'm like, all right, I think I need to get something. So we did get the hat. I got the hat with the dancing bears on it. Yep. And at some point that will make an appearance on the PHLY Sixers podcast. But it was dope. And, yes, I will wear that. And Derek, your experience though, what was it like for you in there? Since we were reluctant to go.
Yeah, no, and look, I've never been to a Dead or a Dead & Co. concert.
Yep.
I don't really listen to them, but to Kyle's point, I think if we were going to go and have that experience at the Sphere, first of all, a jam band I think is the right one, but also like being at the Sphere, you had the psychedelic experience without having to take psychedelics. It was perfect. I felt
it was.
We don't need to get into that. I felt like I was in the right state of mind to see a Dead show without having to go too far. So that was, I think, perfect. It really was a unique, one-of-a-kind experience. I've never seen anything like that. Yeah. I doubt I will until I come out here again next year. So I'm very glad that Kyle did eventually wear on us and talk us into it. Good on him. He doesn't want to take credit, but he is also fist-pumping over here. So I guess he'll take a little bit of credit. But he was right on this one, and that was a great night.
Absolutely. He was absolutely right on that. He doesn't have to take credit because we will just give it to him in terms of the credit because it was a good time. And we were even going as far as, okay, who would we want to see here next? Because that's how cool the Sphere was, and even giving James Dolan some credit for anything was difficult to do, but he got that one right. He nailed it.
He cooked.
Yeah, he did. Well, this show is also, as we broadcast here from Las Vegas at Circa and Resorts and Casino, be here for the next couple of days during our shows. Our show is also brought to you by our good friends from Rothman Orthopedics. I don't know what's going to happen to the Denver Nuggets crew who we just took over for here, but they had a bad one yesterday with a guy that we liked, talking about pre-draft, and Deron Holmes injuring and tearing his Achilles yesterday, rupturing it in his first game in Summer League, which was disappointing, playing 25 minutes, had 11 boards, close to 6 or 7 rebounds, and he popped his Achilles. And I'm just, having been through this last summer and now him going through it, he may not go to Rothman, but if they do decide, the Denver Nuggets, to reach out to us, I will tell them to go to our presenting sponsor of this show.
Talk to your people.
Exactly, and that is our people from Rothman Orthopedics for Deron Holmes. So speedy recovery for him. Hope he's able to get back next season and have his year one campaign fully healthy. But we have to talk about some other Sixers basketball because they play a game today. This is the
shades off. We got to get
first
serious.
Game that we get a chance to. This is the second game that we will see in the 6 days that we're here, Derek.
Yeah.
We've been here all this time and have seen exactly one basketball game.
And he played 12 minutes.
And had picked up 5 personal fouls in it. So we had a chance to go to practice yesterday. Stay tuned for some things about that. But we had a chance to talk to a lot of the players, watch the back end of practice, speak to the coach, Matt Brace, who is also coaching the Summer League team here for the Philadelphia 76ers. And, Derek, this is the start of Jared McCain, where he's had the one good game, the one in Salt Lake City Summer League. And this is a big spot, as we all know, for everybody coming in here, where some played in the California Summer League, some played in the Salt Lake City Summer League. And this is the first one for some teams, the second for the Sixers in terms of Summer League competition. But it's important for Jared McCain to come out here, at least for himself, number one, his team, and then the fan base, feeling a little bit better about the draft pick overall with Jared McCain.
So I'm going to tie it in. We have Philly 007 in the chat asking why Doughton isn't playing. He is playing. He was a late addition to the Vegas Summer League roster. And I've seen some people sort of like complain about that because they want to get Jared McCain into more of a point guard role, into initiating more because he struggled so much. I kind of take the opposite view of that. I actually want him to play more off-ball, get more off-ball reps because, I think that is certainly his short-term future, but if I'm being honest, even his long-term future. I think primarily he is a 2. And I don't think him missing shots means that you have to overreact and try to change his role this early on. He is a really, really good off-ball player. Get him comfortable with that. And we sat there at the practice yesterday. We spoke to 3 players and a coach, and he was the last one to speak because he was going through a long, extended post-practice workout.
Rico Hines was running him into the ground.
Had to be about 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah, and it was all off-ball work, running off of screens, shooting off of the catch. That is his role. I think having Doughton here with the Vegas Summer League will help him get more reps into that role because I do think that is how he's going to make the biggest immediate impact. And I will say, I'm not worried about the shot at all. I know, Kyle, you had the stats. What did he shoot from 3?
I believe it was 18%. I'll pull up the exact number.
I don't care. I really don't care.
18.8%. So almost 19. I was shortchanged him a little bit.
Number of years that Kyle Lowry has been in the league. I don't care at all. He's going to make shots. I'm confident in the shot. There might be a little bit of a struggle with maybe the line. There might be a little struggle with the speed of the game and the speed of the closeouts and the size. He will make shots. I'm confident in that. He's got the range. I think he's got the quick trigger. Get him reps. Have him coming off ball. Get him comfortable with that. I think that's the right move.
Yeah, well, here's what I would say, too. I think the important thing by having someone like Doughton is you don't have to ask McCain to do any one thing, right? Summer League means nothing for the most part. It is just an opportunity for these guys to play. And
people who are living vicariously through that Orlando Summer League championship are angry at you right now.
No, but it's like
I should have brought my hat.
It's okay to fail, right? Like, so a reason that somebody like Ricky Council would come and play Summer League, he's been the 2 of the 3 games, he had really good games. It's not for him to come and do all this stuff that we already know he can do. It's to come and say, you're going to shoot a lot of threes. Ricky Council is taking over 6 threes a game in Summer League. That's just the volume alone,
Fired
let alone
up, Rick.
at the efficiency that we're talking about, shot 42% there. That's great. Like, it's great to just see him step out of what has been his comfort zone traditionally and show the confidence in that shot. And so for Jared McCain, I agree with you. I think his long-term future, or at least his short-term future, is going to be, we're using you off ball as a spot-up guy, a relocation target, all that good stuff. But you do want to get him on ball.
Oh,
reps.
100%.
Like, this is the time to do it. And so by having Doughton, you can have the best of both worlds. Like, Doughton is a more credible point guard, lead ball handler, whatever you want to say at this stage. But he's also fine enough as like a two-guard in a summer league setting where if you ask him to space the floor and just say, hey, Jared, go out there, run the offense for 5 plays here and there, you can get both. And Matt Brace talked to us yesterday and said the big thing that they want out of Jared at summer league is just aggression. Like, go out there and you have an open shot, take it. If you have a chance to attack somebody on an island, go out there and take it. And so I am not concerned by what I've seen so far. Frankly, I think if you were trying to really nitpick and get into like, oh, this is what I'd be concerned about, the defense has not been very good for him. But they also have played a gratuitous amount of zone. Yep. And it could just be that he's not comfortable in his zone yet, and we'll see. And
I think zone's just a bad use of his physical profile.
I agree.
Like, when he has to help help onto a roll man or dig down, he does not have the size or the quickness to bounce back out and contest a shot. I don't think that's putting him in necessarily a good spot.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, so looking at him and thinking about the whole thing with the Jeff Doughton piece first is they make the decision to add him to this roster where initially he wasn't. He was just there for the Salt Lake City Summer League. And it just simply made sense because they had a chance to evaluate Jared McCain. And they saw some things they liked. They saw some different things that they did not like. But as you guys pointed out, looking ahead to the regular season and what his role may be starting off, it just makes sense to have somebody that they trust with the basketball on ball, where they can allow Jared McCain to do those things. We saw it ourselves. Him bringing the ball up, the ball pressure against him was tough. Sometimes he got stripped. He has to figure that part out. Mm-hmm. This is the time for him to make mistakes. That you don't want to see the mistakes, but it's inevitable. It's a young player, 19-year-old, coming into this environment where you have some really hungry people that are, as we talk about, we'll talk about Indeed a little bit later, they're trying to build their resume and get a job. Jared McCain has a job. He's going to be on a roster when the season starts in October, and that's a fact. So these other people, they're really going to come at him. It's not that he's not stepping up to the challenge of the competition. It's just simply that if he's not ready for that yet, it's just a right personnel decision right now by the team to add Jeff Doughton to the roster for right now. And again, mistakes, make them now, because when it does come down to it in the fall, when they begin training camp and you have preseason, that's going to determine how much you play, how many minutes you get there. He's not going to get pulled off the floor that much here in this setting.
No.
But when we get there later on in September, October, when training camp and preseason gets underway, he's going to have his minutes snatched from him. And you have Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon on this roster. Who knows who else might be on this basketball team a little bit later.
We only have a couple more emergency podcasts left, opportunities left.
Yeah.
And thank God for that. We've been burning the candle on both ends.
So get out there, make the mistakes. As Ron says, just work through these game situations at the moment where he's playing this 25-plus minutes and getting his opportunity. The shot, not worried about it either. When we were watching it, it looked good.
Yeah.
You can tell when you watch basketball long enough, or when you shoot a basketball long enough for yourself, you know when it releases from the fingertips, oh, that one's not good. And you can see it. He was a little fatigued at sometimes. But the one thing that I did notice is what the physicality of that people talked about pre-draft when they looked at him. He's put together pretty well for a smaller point guard or shooting combo guard that he is. He has a strong lower base, it looks like, where he should be able to withstand some of that stuff and being able to get those shots. The legs were a little fatigued. By the way, they played 3 games in a row in Utah. So that is coming back on him a little bit right now.
Yeah, after
and
a
Matt Brace
layoff
said that.
from real basketball.
Exactly.
Right?
And Matt Brace said, look, during the time there, they haven't done this. So now they have to see. And I remember watching the game, and Nick Nurse was doing the television interview. We want to see how these guys handle game in 3 consecutive days and see how they do it. And Jared McCain, he's in a pretty good spot here to showcase. And other guys have already started to showcase here in the first couple of days here of the Las Vegas Summer League. Reed Shepherd and some of these other guys that we've seen.
One move was a double dribble,
turn.
by the way, yesterday.
Oh, that was
definitely
definitely a double dribble.
But even if you took that out,
it was
what
dope.
a debut he had.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of really nice stuff from him.
So Terrence Shannon Jr. had a nice performance, open up as a rookie. So now it's his time to shine, and he's going to have an opportunity later today. They play at 4 p.m. Our time, 7 p.m. Eastern, back at home. And I want to see him in this environment. Of course, we'll talk about Ricky Council and our guy Ricky and seeing what he does in this environment. But Jared McCain is going to be okay. That shot is going to fall. He's going to make shots. He's going to do his thing, and he's going to have some good vets around him also.
Yeah. And last thing on the just bringing Doughton along here.
Mm-hmm.
One, just having enough competent players around McCain and Bona will be a big thing. And we could be quickly approaching the end of Ricky Council's summer league journey. Like, I would not – if he comes out and plays well today, I wouldn't be shocked if the team was like, we've seen enough. There's no real reason to – if he's even a semi-threat to be a rotation guy, and we can talk about that in a moment, and he has 3 good games out of the 4 they played, and the one bad one was on a back-to-back in the middle of the summer, I think there's going to be incentive to sit him down. And so you want to have enough competent players that McCain is not being overtaxed in Summer League. The other thing is, we've brought it up on the show that maybe we wouldn't personally use the resources this way, or we'd aim higher is probably a better way of putting it. They might be looking at Jeff Doughton as one of those last contracts on the team as like a caretaker type point guard. He might not play for weeks at a time, but will still come in, be a professional. If Kyle Lowry has a night off or a couple guys are out of the lineup, they probably feel at this point, certainly Nick Nurse trusts him, and so they probably feel like, all right, let's just continue to look at him a little bit more as we're evaluating that decision, and we'll see if that's what ended up happening. But I think those are 2 more important things to consider.
Well, when we do get back, we do need to talk about Ricky a little bit, Ricky Council.
We've gone 15 minutes, not mentioned Go Get 'em Rick.
Ricky!
That's a record by about 14 minutes of Summer League talk.
I did say fire him up, Rick.
Okay.
Get those 6 shots, get 6 threes a game. We'll talk about Go Get 'em Rick. We'll talk about Go Get 'em Rick on the other side. When we come back, we'll tap into that right here as we broadcast live from our home for the next couple of days. This is a dope spot. We'll tell you more as we come back live from the Circa Resort and Casino here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
First up, we want to tell you about Rite Aid, specifically their Refreshery line of products. This line of beverages range from familiar family favorites to revitalizing better-for-you options, and it's available exclusively at Rite Aid. Products include waters, ranging from purified, spring, electrolyte, distilled, and flavors watered. There's also coconut water, which is fat-free, gluten-free, non-GMO with less than 1% sugar. They have single-serve iced tea, juice, and lemonade, which are sweetened with real sugar and no preservatives, and a wide range of juices, from pineapple, cranberry, apple, strawberry, lemonade, and many more flavors, with organic options available. And finally, I want to tell you about their cold-pressed juices, crafted from 100% fruits and vegetables, organic, non-GMO, no sugars added, preservatives, or artificial flavors, packaged in eco-friendly glass bottles, which reduces plastic waste. It is important to stay hydrated, especially during the summer months. Get refreshment delivered. Shop online at riteaid.com/shop for same-day delivery, or buy online, pick up in-store for Refreshery products.
Need a lot of that water out here.
A lot of it.
Out here in Las Vegas.
Especially after last night.
We'll talk about our last couple of evenings here out here in Las Vegas. But we also want to tell you, again, we're out here to watch some basketball, Summer League basketball. And we just talked about it briefly, where some players here, well, a number of players here are trying to build their resume and trying to find a job for the later months here once the basketball season gets underway.
Maybe not even in the NBA. Also overseas. A lot of guys are playing for their livelihood in other places other than the NBA.
So they're trying to put together and build their resume, and the best way to do so is with our friends from Indeed. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search match with Indeed. And that is what the GMs and scouts are doing, whether here or abroad. They're doing that for these players as they build the resume. And if you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Any Indeed And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. And as these players and front office types, again, are trying to figure out how they're going to have a job or hire some for a job, Indeed is definitely a place for them to go. We'll pass the message a little bit later when we're in the arena for the game. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility. That's $75 at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
I could use an extra $75 right now.
Need some $75?
Come talk to me, Indeed. We've been in
Put it on
Vegas for
16.
this is day 5.
Oh,
day
Ricky.
6.
Yeah.
Day 6, I think, at this
Day
point.
6. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Nobody should be in Las Vegas for this long. But if you're going to be here, you might as well come to Circa. It's beautiful.
You might as well come to Circa, take that $75 and go up there right behind us or go in front of us.
$0 immediately.
With the sports book right here in front of us. And Derek, I counted them. It's like 33 of these screens in front of us and to our right. 9 right behind the sports book where the tellers are, where they can help you out with any of the wagers that you're looking to make.
Yes.
This is a beautiful place, man.
Very
I'm
nice.
supposed to be the calculator, and you're out here counting screens. You trying to take my job here?
Well, I didn't go pixels. I just went
Okay.
screens.
Okay.
Yeah, so I respected the calculator, and I didn't go too far. And but this is a great place. I mean, we got WNBA hoops. We got some baseball going on, some racing happening at the moment. We're looking at maybe a future Philly to our left for the Chicago baseball team, and maybe he's going to be manning center field in a couple of weeks.
When is that deadline? That's like
It's
over a week?
August.
It's August.
it's August?
Right?
It's August. Yeah, so still about a week. But, people have been talking about Robert, just talking about Robert Jr. a lot. Man in that center field position. Johan Rojas does make some outstanding
I did
catches.
see the other day he had a play in like the 9th inning of a game where he didn't even try to throw it in. Like, it was like a sack fly type situation, and he just kind of stood there with the ball. It was like that. If that happened in Philadelphia, it would be take apocalypse for. And that's not to cast aspersions at Chicago. Chicago's
Yeah.
a big sports city. I'm sure it was a big deal there, but
It's not flying here, buddy.
That would melt down. William Penn statue on top of the building on top of City Hall would melt from the heat of the takes that would come out of that.
Whether you're the worst team in baseball or the best team, the first to reach 60 in Major League Baseball, that's not flying here.
Yeah.
Nope.
That is not flying. Kyle, we just talked about it briefly heading in, and our guy Ricky Council. Go get him, Rick. Go get him today, man. We'll see what
Go
you
get
do.
him. Rick comes to Vegas too.
Against the Pistons. So go ahead and destroy that Pistons team so you can probably take the rest of Summer League off. But that being said, man, he had this – we talked to him, and he always carries himself with this confidence during the regular season. But he absolutely had a different kind of confidence when we discussed some things with him yesterday at the practice.
Absolutely. And so I posted a diehard piece today on allphly.com. So if you haven't checked that out, obviously I'm promoting myself. I try to give you guys good work, so I would recommend checking it out.
It's a good story. Allphly.com. Sign up for
you
the Die Hard. Make sure you read Derek and Kyle's work. Kyle definitely dropping the piece from practice yesterday, and Ricky, again, a big piece of it.
Yeah, so something that was interesting that we got into with Ricky was he hasn't talked with Nick Nurse in a while. And, like, that's not a big shock.
Yeah.
He's been at the facility a lot working out, but Nick Nurse is, there are a lot of other things going on, the recruitment of Paul George and all kinds of other things that a coach is doing in the office, and including getting a little vacation time, as all these guys should when they're done the season.
And Nurse will be here. He was in Utah.
Yes.
He'll be here. I'm
Yes.
sure they'll have a chance to just at least speak.
Yes,
Right.
but Ricky said they discussed his role at the end of last season at his exit interview with Nick Nurse, with the front office, so on and so forth. And they were pretty honest with him. Like, look, the path to a rotation spot in year 2 is going to be tough. Like, nothing is going to be guaranteed for you. Ricky is relaying all of this to us yesterday. And then the most Ricky Council moment ever, he just goes, y'all know I like to prove people wrong. And it's the cool thing about Ricky in this summer league so far, from what I can tell, is he has really taken a leadership role with this group, despite the fact that he's only been in the league a year, despite the fact that he spent a lot of the season either on the bench, in the G League, bouncing back and forth, not playing real minutes.
Yep.
But he's given advice to guys like McCain, like Justin Edwards, like Bona, on not just like the game, but how you got to take care of yourself, how you keep your body ready for the 82-game grind. Like, even if you're not playing, you're getting on planes all the time.
Yes.
You wake up you're dealing with different time zones, and like all the adjustments you make. Your diet, where you go from guys get to college, and most people eat like trash when you're away from home for the first time. I mean, I still eat like trash, but that's more an indictment of me than a reflection of what people my age do, right? But so these kids are 19, 20, 21 years old, and they come to the league, and it's just like, hey, you have to be responsible on levels that I don't think you've thought about before.
Yep.
And Jared and these other guys have said, look, Ricky's been a great resource. And then you look at Ricky, like Ricky came into the league with an NBA body. Mm-hmm. He's added more muscle. Like, he has very clearly gotten bigger over the last, I don't know, let's call it like 6. Even since we interviewed him in January, February, whenever that was, he looks like he's bulked up a noticeable amount.
Yeah.
And for a guy who's going to live as a slasher, a guy who's driving to the rim, playing through contact, getting to the free throw line, I mean, that bodes well. And so that whole package, the defiance of, like, I'm going to prove people wrong.
Including my coaches.
The preparation to work on his game and his body, the shooting progress that we've seen this summer. Now, whether you believe he's a 42% shooter or not, just the confidence, that part's been great. You bundle that all together, it's been a really exciting summer for Ricky so far, and hopefully he has one monster game to open it, and then he can hit the blackjack table and we can hang out.
We're going to be here for 2 games, so we want 2 Ricky games.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
It's all
I'm
about
saying
us.
for him.
I'm talking about for us.
I'm rooting for the
Selfish
best
reasons.
outcome for the player, right? Like, you want to see the guys succeed.
I'm not.
All right. Fair enough.
Friend to the show.
Hater
Ricky.
Bodner over there.
Friend to the show, Ricky. But no, and even when he had the first game and he had that explosion in that game of, what did he have, 20, 29 in that game?
Yeah,
and he hit
in the
those
opener.
19 in the fourth quarter as Kyle was watching it on the plane. And as he was doing that, and we discussed it a little bit later, especially having the rough second outing, scouting report was ready for him in game number 2 with the Memphis Grizzlies. They were double teaming him in that when he had to see that to see how he can handle that one in this environment. But with him, we know that it's not about his scoring, it's about his defense and the effort, the other stuff that he's going to have to do to stay on the floor, to crack that rotation, to crack that wing rotation. And those are things that we've seen him do. Mm-hmm. That's why on this level right now, he's all right, well, let me show everybody that I can score too.
Yes.
Because if I do get in the game and I do have an opportunity to put the ball on the deck and go to the basket or shoot those threes, that they're not going to frown at me and pull me out of the game because I'm taking a shot if I feel like it's a good one within the flow of the game. So it was really good to see him again. Always has that smile on his face, but he's that dog and he's out there to go and attack in attack mode at every moment. And it was just good. It's good to see him out here. And it's, as Derek said, selfishly, I would like to see him play the 2 games that while we're here. But if he has another one, he's probably sitting down for the rest of it, just watching in the street clothes.
Oh, no.
Because that's how good he's been.
If he misses that second game, I will manufacture reasons to criticize him. It'll be completely made up, completely manufactured.
I got a job for him.
Okay.
He can do the last show with us.
Yeah,
he's not
there you go.
working. He can come sit with us.
That is the way he can redeem himself.
That's exactly right.
But no, I mean, going back to Kyle's point, is he a 42% shooter? No, but the fact that he launched 6 of them per game, the fact that he also shot 87% or whatever it was from the line, those are the indicators you need. Like, you need that shot to go in. The drives are great. The and ones are great. Yada, yada, yada. You need him to make shots and force people to defend him. And so far, it's been a really, I don't call it eye-opening because it's just Summer League, but it's certainly been important. It's been an important step forward for a guy who at this time last year, I thought his shot was hopeless.
Yes.
I don't think it's hopeless anymore. And that's a huge, huge change.
Do you see much difference in the mechanics? Because I really don't, but he looks comfortable within his own skin with that shot.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and rewatch some of them from college to really break down the mechanics. But just in terms of the rotation on the ball, in terms of the right-left accuracy of it, it seems a lot better.
Even when he puts the ball down and he does a ball fake and the guy flies by and he sidesteps.
Yeah.
He's keeping his shoulders square. He's keeping his body right. His feet look good. Yeah. And he's getting the shot off, which helps everything.
What I remember from last year is his lower body mechanics, his pre-shot footwork, his balance was a disaster. Mm-hmm. and you would see him shooting a lot coming down on the way down. You would see him, like I said, a lot of right to left misses. He's just shored that up. He is a lot more consistent, which is great.
And the other piece, too, is when you do see the shot go in, you see it graze the rim in the pass, right the front, the lip of the rim, then it would go in. And you see that again, maybe to hit the back rim. We've seen a lot more of these where it's just water, nothing, touching nothing, and it's just dropping through because of everything that we're talking about.
And I was going to say, to your point, when you have to make mechanical changes, when he didn't rebuild it from the ground up, right? But he made some real focused changes with the lower body mechanics and just, mastering every rep. A lot of these guys struggle when they come in and they have a questionable shot base level, or they're, maybe they shot well in college, but a team says, we don't think this is sustainable with these mechanics. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's hard where, especially when they get tired, guys revert to, okay, what is my comfort zone? What is the way I came up shooting like, right? Like that. And so we haven't seen that from him. Now, maybe over time in bigger minutes, maybe that's a concern. But I think he's done a good job of being relatively consistent. There's no real hitchiness. Mm-hmm. The lower body's good. The shoulders are square. And again, to me, it's the confidence is the key thing, because he's not going to have the latitude on offense that he has here in Summer League or with the Blue Coats, playing alongside Joel Embiid and Maxey and Paul George. He's just going to have to stand in the corner or on the wing and either make a spot up three or attack a closeout. That's going to be his life. And so he has to get into that mindset of just let it fly, let it fly, let it fly. So I'd love seeing that from him. We'll see if he's able to sustain it here in Vegas, see if anybody pulled him off the blackjack table to prepare for this game. I'm excited to see if he can put that final just exclamation point on his Summer League and then have a nice deserved rest.
Are you suggesting that you're not allowed to spend a copious amount of time at the blackjack table in Vegas? I thought that's why we were here.
Well, it's no judgment.
We were just doing that like 7 hours ago.
Yeah.
And the fact that we could be at a blackjack table on the casino floor, meeting some friends 7 hours ago, and still bringing you this podcast, that's the difference between an amateur and a professional.
I will say, I had said this in our company Slack that we've been communicating in throughout the weekend. I've made fun of Derek. Derek is I'd say a base level sleepy person.
Yes.
And I've been mocking him for that throughout the weekend. Derek was one of the last men standing last night along with me. Even though he was basically dead inside or maybe fully dead inside, he made it.
Look,
so I was proud of him.
I didn't come out to Vegas to sleep. You won't have that much trouble dragging me out.
That's exactly right, man. It's like people who show up to a wedding and are like, well, I don't want to dance. It's like, what the hell's the point? Go home then.
Well, I went home last night and I went to sleep. I left these guys.
To be fair, you went home at like 1 o'clock. It's not like you completely...
Yeah, I was done, guys and gals. I was like, all right, I'm going...
Oh, no. There's only one reason I'm awake right now.
Yeah. And look, our schedule is so messed up because we still wake up on East Coast time. For whatever reason, we're waking up early. And it stinks because I'm like, all right, I'm going to sleep in just a little bit. And here I am waking up super early. That honestly
has been my biggest problem. It's not the amount of alcohol. It's not whatever we had to take to get in the right mind space for the Dead and Co concert. It's the fact that we go to sleep at 3 and my body's like, no, 8 o'clock, you're getting up. And it's just driving me insane.
I've been preparing for this moment my whole life.
Michael Belfatti, our friend, of course, says at least someone is an adult. Kyle and Derek, not sure. Well, we're all
showed up for work.
I mean, look, it's not even close, though. He is the most responsible one out of all of us. Like, Kyle and I aren't going to miss anything. But Devon's he's a good guy.
But we're never by ourselves. We always have each other's backs to make sure nothing goes a little haywire. And Rick Moore says, Devon at the Dead concert? Like, what the? Yeah. Yep. And it was fun. If you were here, you would have went with us and said the same thing, Rick. You would have had a great time. And then somebody else asked, I can't remember because it was early, where's Devon's shirt? Well, I have my shirt, my version of the tie-dye shirt. Let me pull the screen down just a little bit. This is my version.
And
I do have a hat, a Dead and Co hat.
Yeah.
So I'll show that later on.
Kyle and I clearly bought ours at the concert. We did not come prepared. Devon came prepared
and
to go
didn't
to a
even
Dead
know
Co
it.
concert. Yes.
And didn't even know it. Yes, I can hang, Al. I just decided last night I'm not going until later in the wee hours. I'm cutting it short a little bit tonight because I'm tired.
Back-to-back 3 a.m. nights is it's a choice. We'll put it that way.
It is a choice. And when we come back, a choice of discussing some of the other guys from Justin Edwards to Adem Bona, seeing some of the sights and sounds in general and what we're looking for today in the game against the Detroit Pistons, some of the other things that we've seen from some of the other players around the NBA in Summer League. We'll talk about that when we get back right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Told you a little bit earlier about Deron Holmes from the Denver Nuggets, the rookie playing in his first game, and it was really unfortunate that he tore his Achilles. I feel for him. I tore my Achilles last summer. It's almost a year and 3 days when I actually tore mine on July 16th. I remember the date. And I wish him a speedy recovery. What I did when I tore my Achilles was I went right to the great people of the sponsor of this show, and that is our friends from Rothman Orthopedics. Everyone has a specialty that they love. I love playing basketball. I still get after it before my injuries pretty good. I go after it, and I love the competitive part of still playing. For some, it's the running or the gardening. For me, it's basketball and trying to, again, shoot the hoops, cross over the defender, and making somebody look silly like Reed Shepherd did in that game.
Without committing a double dribble.
Without double dribbling against the LA squad. But at Rothman Orthopedics, their physicians are not only specialized in orthopedics and clinical research, but they are fellowship trained to treat specific areas of the body. Since 1970, their physicians have remained committed to research, innovation, and minimally invasive procedures to get you back to what you specialize in. Pick up hoops from me. I can't wait. We've got a couple of more days before I can actually get to some competitive basketball. And they are from my friends Rothman Orthopedics, and they specialize in you as well. Rothman proudly serves dozens of communities across Pennsylvania and New Jersey with 30-plus convenient offices, urgent cares, and even walk-in centers as well. For more than 50 years, Rothman has participated in 1,000 of groundbreaking research and clinical trials with the goal of advancing knowledge, developing treatments, and improving outcomes for the benefit of their patients. Me being one of them in 2019 with my ACL, in 2023 with my Achilles, and I feel pretty good. Even walking around as much as we have been here in Las Vegas, I may have had to ice my ankle a couple of times,
baby.
But it's all going for the betterment of the team. And, of course, I'm able to do it because of my friends at Rothman Orthopedics, specialize in orthopedics, and you visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment today.
So we also want to use this opportunity to thank our partner, our good friends here, our new friends at Circa Resort and Casino. So you guys have heard, we've been in the city all week. We were not staying at Circa all week. And so when we arrived and I walked into my large, beautiful room, it was quite an upgrade from the last place we were at. So great rooms. We got this beautiful sports book that we're at. The food options are good. We got a coffee place. There's a deli. There's a burger place. You can get wings where we can buy, what was it, like pounds of wings is how they sell them here?
4 pounds for $70.
That's a lot of wings.
Yes.
4 pounds of wings. There's a barbecue place in here. There's the pool, which I still have not been to yet,
Derek,
but has a screen the size of the one that you see inside
Kyle,
at
you're
the
going to be
sports book.
stunned when you walked in there. It is gorgeous.
Massive. The pool is massive. It's very cool. We're getting a look from producer Emma over here. I don't know if we did something wrong.
No, Stadium Swim, the elevator is actually the highest elevator in the city of Las Vegas.
Derek and I have a story about that when you're done your read. Thank you, Emma.
I basically thought like I can kill Devon right now if I wanted to.
You can fit like 4,000 people at Stadium Swim. It's got the huge LED screen. It's open 365 days a year. 15,000 square feet of what they call wet space. I don't know if that's like a no diddy or like how we handle that. It's a beautiful pool. It's a beautiful casino. And by the way, it is Vegas's first ever adults only casino.
Vegas, baby.
So you don't have to worry about running into those snot-nosed kids while you're in here. Adults only. So thank you to our friends at Circa for providing such a great backdrop, landscape, place to hang while we're here in Las Vegas.
So out of my room and my view, I can look right out at the pool just like you can. And It's dope. I sent it to my brother and my sister. They were like, yo, and it was that's how it was. I sent it to my daughters, and they were like, Dad, where's this place? and it's really, really cool. To your point, I feel guilty. I'm looking out the window, and there's all these people down there. Do they see me looking at them? And I feel bad.
I was going to make a joke if you pulled the binoculars out up there.
I
didn't know if people would take it.
I have not. I did not want to do that. I don't want the Secret Service finding us again. So
we know we're on their radar.
We're on their radar already.
That'd just be police. You just go into regular jail for that one.
And yes, Gene, our buddy Gene says, "Oh, Emma has a mic. Where's Breeze?" Well, you know what? We love Bree. Bree has the day off while Emma is helping us out here in Las Vegas. We love Bree. Emma's been great since we got to officially meet her here, and it's been fun working with Emma as we do this. But yes, Bree has a mic too. Sometimes you just decide, you know what, they don't need to hear from me. But no, we welcome Bree.
I was going to say
we bothered Bree at like 9 o'clock every night for like 2 weeks straight. She's been she's just a goat. We just have 2 goats.
Yes, we have 2 goats. Derek, before we get to talking about Justin Edwards and Adem Bona and just what we're looking for today against the Pistons, can you tell them about the elevator that Emma was just talking about?
It's huge. Like, we were going up this, and it's like, this is all, like, if you have a fear of heights, this might be a little bit sketchy because it was just very big, very steep.
You're supposed to be selling the place. What are you doing?
It's that big because it's a freaking huge place.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I stayed at a lot of places coming up to Summer League over the years. This is as nice as I've ever stayed. It's the nicest place I've ever stayed.
This is hands down the nicest I've ever stayed. So when you go down, we were going up at the moment. When we were going up the escalator there, and we were going up, and Derek said it. He said exactly that.
Like, I could push you and kill you right now.
I could push you down there, and I don't know how you're going to. This is like a John Wick fall down the stairs.
HR? I need to file
I didn't say I was going to.
What is going on here?
It was like if you saw John Wick Chapter 4 and he's falling down the stairs and he can't grab onto anything. That's how it is on this escalator. Maybe we'll have that. We'll show you some of it a little bit later.
To be fair, my second thought was, oh, man, this would be a great slide. So, like, I go on both extremes. I go from having fun to murder. Like, it happens. That's what my dad does.
Also, when you see it, he's also like, well, I wonder if somebody was drunk enough to think that they can actually slide down this thing because of that. But when you do that. And when you walk,
I've definitely been drunk enough to think that. Not on this trip,
maybe not for this one.
Past,
you would be sober enough to say, no, I'm not trying that one. But even when you walk out, it's like a scene, man, in a movie where you walk out to the stadium swim, and all of this is just right there for you. So when you do it, I want to make sure we're there with you because I want to see your reaction to that. It's really.
If you would have seen that on a movie, you'd be like, this is overdone. There's no actual swimming pool this cool.
Yeah.
It is really, really awesome.
It's really cool. So if you do make your way to Vegas, it's July 13th. You have plenty of time to get here. And if you do make your way here, you have to check out, again, Circa Resorts and Casino because this is fantastic. All right, Derek, what are you looking for? Justin Edwards. We talked to him a little bit yesterday also, local guy. They seem like they like him. I had a chance to talk to one of the other guys. Often, I'm not going to say on camera. I'm not going to say here who it was, but talking to one of the other front office people about Justin Edwards, some of the things that he said. So until I get clearance, or maybe he joins us on the show, I'll let him say it himself.
A little tease,
A little tease that might happen. But that said, what are you looking for? Adem Bona as well, maybe some of the other players on this roster here as we get ready for Sixers Pistons later.
With Edwards, I really want to see the shot. I know he shot a pretty good percentage. I was on pretty low volume. If he can make that, the world opens up for him. So that's really what you're teeing off of here. If he can make that shot, like I said, his NBA prospects become a lot more clear-cut. With Bona, it's just, can you channel that aggression and that physicality without fouling too much? It's not a concern here because you get 10 fouls and everyone can play through it. It's not a huge concern when he gets to the next level. Because he's not going to be playing big minutes. Although every foul counts, gets you into the team penalty and the team bonus, so you never want to give them away. But he can channel that aggressiveness into a consistently productive NBA player on the glass, altering shots, rolling to the rim, maybe having some vertical gravity in that regard. He has such a unique combination of size, physicality, quickness off the floor, and effort that if he can because a lot of times fouling is a good indicator of decision making. And playing under control as well. If he can do all of that, then I think he can be a role player in this league. I'm not going to go any farther than that, but I certainly think he has a role in this league.
Hey, I just want to circle back on something that our friend MBD said in the chat. Said the DEA would have a field day with Kyle's backpack at the Dead concert. I just want to share a piece of advice with you that my dad told my friends and I in high school. If you can't be good, be quiet. That's one of the most important lessons I've ever gotten in life.
That's pretty good.
It's something to take with you no matter where you are in the world, no matter what you're doing. Just remember that.
Also, we're not idiots. We didn't bring a backpack in.
No.
We rolled in very light.
Yeah.
Very light. And then they have other things that you might need in the place for you. So, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of the
Edwards,
the shot is it's basic. I don't want to say it's all that matters, but either he shoots and he's able to get into the slash and kick, to use his body and his frame, or he doesn't shoot and he just becomes a guy that he's still pretty raw in terms of the other skill stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so if teams can just sit back on him and dare him to shoot, then that's a really bad outcome for him. I think they've been happy with him not just as a shooter, but he's had some good defensive moments so far in Summer League. Like the first game was, I'd say, I don't want to say disaster, but it was not good for him. But the second and third game were strong follow-ups for him. The shot got rolling. And he does seem, to me, having watched him some at Kentucky, some in high school, and now this little bit in Summer League, does seem like a confidence player, right? Like once that shot got going, then you start to see everything else. Like it feeds it one into another, into another, into another. And so some guys need to get those early shots to go down, and they just become a completely different player. And look, I would say the challenge for him, and this happens to a lot of guys that are big-time recruits, go to big programs, it did not work out for him last year, right? Like he was very disappointed with how things went at Kentucky. Certainly would not have expected when he left Philadelphia that he's going to be a two-way contract, undrafted type of player. And so this is like you're resetting. You're at ground zero. Like, what are you made of? And it seems like he's embraced the idea of coming home, trying to recenter himself and start his journey. So obviously as a local kid, you want to root for him to succeed, and we'll see what the rest of Summer League looks like for him.
Yeah, just the shot is the big key. He has good size at 6'6". He looks good. His body can, of course, fill out a little bit better. He's still 19 years old.
Yeah.
So that's going to fill out. And even though earlier I mentioned how Jared McCain's body looks good for 19, Justin Edwards has the height but just doesn't have the build in terms of muscle and all there just yet. But from everything you hear about him is he's strong. He's very confident. He even said it after game one. Both he and Jared McCain said the same thing. Game one. Had to figure out the pace, the style. It was faster.
Big adjustment for all these
difference.
guys.
Yeah, and even one of the coaches that said to me about Jared McCain, it was just figuring out that style of play and the speed.
Yep.
And they talked about that with us when we had a chance to speak with them. And that's where it is for him. And then we saw in game two where he was, for a moment there, what was he, about 5 for 5, 3 for 3 from 3, 5 for 5 from the floor, leading them at halftime in scoring because that's how comfortable he was out there. So if he's able to do that and continue to this will be game number 4 for him over the last week or so, and just to do those things and to make those shots. He's a 6'6" guy, so typically with them, they're going to slash. They're going to find themselves in an open area somewhere to be able to get it along the baseline, somewhere in the middle of the paint, to make themselves available. And so I want to see some of that, but certainly putting the ball on the deck, knocking down that outside shot when the ball finds them on the perimeter and confidently knocking that down, making a couple of those defensive plays that will stand out on tape for the coaches to say, oh, okay, cool. I like that right there, and that's something that we can build off of.
And to that point about, he's going to slash, he's going to do all that, I think if you try to go real long-term, like let's just say it works out for him, the shot comes, having guys in that general size range, right, who can successfully cut off of Joel Embiid when he's set up at the nail, when he's set up on the opposite block, and then can finish at the rim, you have the 3 guys. You have Maxey, you have Paul George, who he's going to draw defenders out to him. Regardless of what else he does, he's going to be a catch-and-shoot weapon. And then you have Joel. The other guys just need to kind of play opportunistic offense around them, whether that's, We think one of McCain's big skills is the relocation shooting. Maybe for Edwards, it's learning how to be a timely cutter, sneaking in along the baseline. That was something that we saw Kelly Oubre do really well last season, is cut along the baseline, maybe even operate from near the dunker spot from time to time. KJ Martin had success with that last year. So all these guys, now that it's a true like 3-star team, and it's not 2 stars and a guy making $40 million who just doesn't live up to the billing on that part.
Yeah.
I think you're going to hopefully see better results for the role players around them, and you can box them into more specific roles than you could have when it was Tobias as the third guy.
Yeah, and just having more space, like for that baseline cut, that opposite side slot cut, like space helps, and having Paul George, having Tyrese Maxey surrounding Joel Embiid, they will have more space to cut as well.
We nerd out a lot on this show with stuff, and this is where I love the nerdy part of things too.
I'm not a nerd. What are you talking about?
It's all right. So we do these player comps, and we look at players. So naturally, when we were just recently talking about lefties and how much of the advantage they have out there on the floor. So when you bring up Kelly Oubre, I was already thinking about who can I comp him to. He's not Michael Redd because he doesn't shoot like Michael Redd. Who is he as a lefty? So I haven't come up with one just yet. But when you mentioned Kelly Oubre, I'm thinking about the style, though, the attacking style that he could have, the cutting and slashing that he could do there. So when you have someone like him there as a veteran, lefty talking, hey, angles here as a left-handed player, this is an advantage that we have, that we can do this. So where Kelly Oubre can maybe say, and it may be small, but that's significant because those little small 1% things that you don't know coming from high school and college and into the pros, that a guy who plays similarly to you can tell you, hey, this is what I think you can do, and take advantage of a left-handed player to do stuff like that. We spoke so much about Kyle Lowry teaching Jared McCain. Okay, Kelly Oubre showing, hey, lefty, come check this out, and this is what you can do. Finding a way to get that angle, to get that cut and slash there, to find that open area so you can take advantage of it. Where we saw for years with Thaddeus Young, totally different player, but man, that little jump hook that still falls, where he doesn't even have to look at the rim because he mastered that thing that he has with that jump hook. So Anderson is interesting to me, and I saw somebody in the chat say that, who was it? It was Roman says, I saw Justin Edwards playing high school ball multiple times. Don't get the hype. Doesn't have the athleticism or the shot.
Well, so that's what makes it tough to compare him to like a Kelly Oubre, right? It's like Kelly, we're skeptical of him as a shooter, right? Like that's one of the big question marks for me coming into next season is like, will Kelly and will Caleb Martin shoot well enough? But Kelly, when he doesn't have anything else going on, is a incredible athlete. Like for his size, his ability to move side to side, be a weak side rim protector, guy who can make some plays in transition. Like the athleticism is there. Everything else might not be from time to time. Using his other hand might not be. But so that's the difficulty with if you try to put him in those same spots, Edwards, as Oubre, as a cutter and where he's going to operate, there will be some more difficulties for him where there are plays that Oubre can turn into a dunk that Justin Edwards simply can't.
May not,
He does not have the vertical explosion that Kelly does.
And look, when we saw Kelly Oubre coming out of Kansas, that was not even a question. That guy was an athlete, and he was fearless. And he did not matter who was in front of him. He was going to put his shoulder into your chest, and he still tries to do that. Yep, so that doesn't change when it comes to him. All right, let's get to a couple of these Super Chats that we do have in here. We had a few, so let's start off with, let's see, the first one that we're going to go to is Devon, a.k.a. our buddy Schoolboy Beats. Jeff Doughton in Summer League, he's older than Jason Tatum. The difference is Jason Tatum is an all-NBA player.
No, but that's something that Kyle and I and Tavon have definitely talked about. He's a baseball player who is old here, and you would expect him to look real good. So does that mean we're necessarily pining for him to get?
It's the same thing with Aluma, too. That's his thing.
Are we necessarily, demanding he gets an NBA contract? No, but I think he's certainly earned it, and I think he's a good influence on this team who needs a little bit of stability.
Yeah. Help out Jared McCain a little bit, and it's all good. No worries. We're going to see a lot of 27-year-olds here in Summer League basketball for these respective teams. By the way, Ramid said a little bit earlier, Fellas, on a Saturday? Yes.
Yeah, buddy.
And a Sunday. Get ready for us tomorrow,
Taking you out of
Ramid.
church tomorrow.
No doubt about it. Yep, 2 p.m. Make sure, or once you get home from church, you know exactly where we are.
Wear your Sunday best.
No doubt. Brian Pumper checking in. Enjoy Vegas, fellas. Team is only missing a role player villain like Dylan Brooks. Number 21 cannot be that guy. Kelly is too pretty for that. Brian, I don't know about that.
I
and
think
no
if you-
McCain.
If you ask referees, I don't think they would agree he is too pretty to be a villain.
That was Kelly. After that Clippers game, making sure he let them know. Caleb Martin is a tough player. I think there's some toughness there.
He can be a
Kyle
villain,
Lowry,
yeah.
we know, has a streak within him. Maybe Marcus Morris
I was
comes
gonna say,
back.
Brian Pumper seems to be. He would love a Marcus Morris moment of the night, like
Oh,
we were doing
boy,
at the start
yeah.
of the season.
Yeah,
so.
no doubt. But look, they have enough guys that are goons enough in their own way where they can get away with it. And Kelly can be pretty, as you call him, but Kelly has that mean streak in him where the officials in the NBA already tapped his wallet because of that. And our final one, our friend from Michael Belfatti, in honor of our visit to the show the other night to see the Dead & Co. Your favorite Dead & Co. song or the Grateful Dead song?
Here's the thing. Could either of you name one?
Derek could. I could not. I just knew the
I couldn't-
song by hearing it.
I was telling Kyle when we were at the show, I'm like, when they did a cover of Knocking on Heaven's Door, that was the first song I recognized.
What was the other one that I
Hey
knew?
Jude.
There was a-
They
yeah.
played Hey Jude.
Yeah.
That was the
before
one I
that,
knew.
so,
Yeah. Hey Jude is
I
the
was
one
just
that I
saying, if
knew.
you don't know Hey Jude,
No, I
you-
No, I
you
knew
better-
it. Just, I
I
didn't know
forgot
the
which
title.
one they
I
did.
mean the royal you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying,
Okay.
like, anybody who doesn't know Hey Jude, it's like, have you listened to music ever in your life? That's one of the most omnipresent
Yeah.
songs there is. All right, I can name a few.
Take over. Go
I
ahead.
like a Casey Jones. I do a Franklin's Tower. Scarlet Begonias. There's a few, right?
Yeah. Okay. Casey Jones, former
So that
Celtic
was-
coach.
That one was the
KC.
song that played. Do you remember when they did? It was the wall of all the old Dead ticket stubs.
Yeah.
That was dope.
That's the song they played during that.
Okay.
That was a very cool.
Had a
That
couple
was
of
dope.
Spectrum tickets up there. Yep.
They actually showed the Fillmore while we were
They did.
on the backdrop there. So that was pretty cool.
I'm blanking on the name of the one that they played. Remember, it was like the stage curtains. It was
Yes.
like the big Grateful Dead
Yeah,
logo
yeah.
and then like red theater
Yeah.
curtains. That was a good one too, but I'm blanking on the name of it right now.
Yeah. That was
They only
pretty
played
cool.
a couple of the ones that I'm like intimately familiar with. Otherwise, it seemed like last night. I had a buddy who went from college that he's in town for some kind of business conference, and
Yeah.
it was a lot more of the what I would call my familiars.
Okay. Got one right here from Aaron. Aaron says, "Song's not about that Casey Jones, Devon. LOL." I know. I was making a joke. I said that. It was Casey, Casey, and I said KC Jones. So, yeah, just having a little fun with it. That was a good time, though. Again, I know two of the songs by hearing them, and I was like, okay, I know these. That was easy. I knew John Mayer, of course. I knew who John
by
Mayer
the way,
was.
respect level through the roof for John Mayer.
No
after
doubt. No
some
doubt.
skepticism about him in his earlier days. That guy can play a guitar.
Much respect. And Devon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats, with another super chat. If it was 2K Ricky and Caleb, Edwards, PG, I think that's how it was set up, the mentorship. Those guys can teach them a lot for their archetype, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's fair. Ricky and Caleb Martin. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's still questionable shot things with Caleb Martin outside of going super franchise player against the Boston Celtics in that 7-game series.
The number one Celtics killer in the
Right.
league, other than Chris Middleton.
Yeah. Yep. So no, understood, definitely. All right, we got to get ready to get out of here because we got to get ready to head over to the game. They have a game
baby.
today, so we'll make sure we check in again Sunday conversation, hanging out with all of you, beginning right here, 2 p.m. once again for everybody. We got a quick roll call.
Yeah, just want to say thank you to our people, Spiral Out, Eugene Ross, Jess, Ron,
What up,
Seth
Aaron?
F, Rick Morris, MBD,
Ricky.
DBF,
MBD.
Michael Belfatti coming in from Portugal.
What up, Mike?
Shout out to you, buddy. Drowning Guitars, also in the building. Money Marr in the building.
What up, Money?
Al, the 2-minute warning.
We got to make some money here. What up, Al?
Present as always. We got Slade, Drowning Guitars. I think I already said that, but I'm scrolling quick. Ramid, Igavini,
What up,
Brian
Ramid?
Pumper.
Pump.
our people showing up on a Saturday. We love y'all. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon.
Put those
so you get
bell
notifications
icons in the chat, folks.
each and every time I go live. And if you hit the thumbs up button, maybe I'll even convince these guys to go to the Sphere again. No, I'm just kidding.
We're going to the pool.
Sphere's one and done.
We're going to the Stadium Swim. So we appreciate our sponsor again for hosting us here, Circa Resort and Casino. Fantastic place if you're out in Vegas. If you're coming out to Vegas and you're like, where should we stay? This is the place for you. No worries. We're going to hit the Stadium Swim a little bit later. Thank you to our other partner, Rothman Orthopedics, for sponsoring us on this trip as well.
And
Emma,
thank you to Emma.
Emma, thank you so much.
The show today.
No doubt about it. We really appreciate it. For Kyle, Derek, I'm Devon. We'll be back with you tomorrow. We got a game today. Pistons, Sixers. We'll talk about it tomorrow. And then we'll also have some practice tomorrow as well. So we should be some fun things. Everybody have a great rest of your Saturday. We'll talk to you on Sunday. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.